When ancient armies conquered kingdoms, kings were usually killed or executed quickly. Queens, however, faced a very different fate. They were not only individuals, but symbols of legitimacy, power, and dynastic continuity. Because of this, civilizations treated captured queens in ways that reflected their political values and military philosophy. This is the history of what different civilizations did to captured queens. In ancient Assyria, warfare was designed to spread fear. Captured queens were often paraded publicly to demonstrate the complete destruction of a rival dynasty. Many were imprisoned for life, while others were absorbed into the royal household as symbols of total domination. Assyrian policy relied on terror rather than mercy. In ancient Egypt, queens were considered political assets. Rather than being executed, captured queens were usually kept under royal supervision. Some were married into the Egyptian royal family. This strategy allowed Egypt to legitimize its rule over conquered territories and reduce the risk of rebellion. The Achaemenid Persian Empire followed a policy of controlled respect. Captured queens were often treated with dignity and allowed to retain servants and estates. However, they lived under constant surveillance. Persia believed that stability was achieved through order and administration, not humiliation. In ancient Greece, captured queens were rarely mentioned in historical records. Many were forced into exile or religious confinement. Instead of public punishment, Greek societies often erased defeated queens from political life entirely. Silence became a method of control. Ancient Rome viewed humiliation as a form of victory. Captured queens were displayed in triumphal processions through the streets of Rome. These public spectacles were meant to demonstrate Roman supremacy. Afterward, some queens were executed, while others were imprisoned permanently. Cleopatra VII chose death rather than face public humiliation in Rome. Under the Mongol Empire, outcomes depended entirely on obedience. Queens who surrendered early were sometimes spared and protected. Those who resisted were often removed from history completely. Mongol rule valued usefulness over rank or lineage. In imperial China, captured queens were typically isolated rather than executed. They were confined within palace complexes or sent to distant estates. Their political influence was eliminated gradually. Historical records often removed their names entirely. In medieval Europe, queens were treated as political bargaining tools. They were held for ransom, exchanged in treaties, or forced into strategic marriages. Some were sent to convents and lived out their lives away from power. Execution was rare, but political survival was impossible. The fate of captured queens reveals that war extended far beyond the battlefield. It involved symbols, bloodlines, and control over legitimacy. How a civilization treated its defeated queens reflects how it understood power itself. This is the history that exists beyond borders.